Welcome back. Time is 9:42. Hemp versus marijuana. The difference is sparking debate in North Carolina as some courts in the state are allegedly empowering police searches that some law enforcement leaders call unconstitutional. Some court rulings have put additional requirements on police to say why they thought something was illegal marijuana and not legal hemp. But this month, the North Carolina Court of Appeals ruled that that's not necessary, allowing law enforcement to more aggressively search and arrest people without needing any proof that the person targeted might have been engaged in illegal activity.
So before we get into the legal issues here, let's clarify the difference between marijuana and hemp. The only real difference between the two plants is that hemp can't get people high. It has a significantly lower concentration of THC, which is the chemical that gives marijuana its intoxicating effects.
All right, so let's bring back Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes. This ruling seems a little problematic.
Understatement of the century. I mean, probable cause. You need probable cause to, I guess, stop, to stop, detain, or, investigate your crime, the allegations of a crime if you're an officer. We have a constitutional right that prevents illegal search and seizure. Mm-hmm. So let's walk through what that looks like. Before I can stop, before I can seize, before I can prevent you from walking about this earth as you want to do as an officer, I have to either have a warrant, so I go get a physical warrant to arrest you and stop you, or I have to have probable cause to stop you, and now I can find if there's other things there to be able to charge you. Reasonable suspicion, walk through the entire process, right? My concern with this is that, and I'm not alone in this, the Conference on District Attorneys, the SBI, all of these folks before they came out with this wrote that it would be problematic, that it would be hard, it would be extremely hard to find for officers to find probable cause because you can't tell the difference, you can't distinguish the difference between marijuana and hemp based on smell. So then you have this ruling where the court is saying, well, smell alone, smell is enough. Before it used to be smell combined with something. Like I see a gun, I heard something, I heard some drug slang, that's what the court said before, which I think is funny on its own right, but because you can combine it with smell in drug slang, that was enough. The court is now saying you don't need any of that you can have smell alone and that would be sufficient, while even though you can't distinguish the two. Dog sniffing, drug sniffing dogs can't distinguish the two. Mm-hmm. So you can have a substance that is legal, but have now probable cause to stop you and search you, which typically you have to be doing something illegal for them to do. This is definitely a weird position to be put in as a person sitting on the side of the road, because this is where most of these encounters will occur, and an officer now will be able to unconstitutionally search you, which seems like it will be a violation of your rights.
So we know that hemp shop owners, rural residents, they are worried now, right? So what do businesses, drivers that transport hemp products, like what do they need to know now?
Just be prepared to deal with it later. I know in that last piece you guys talked with Make about the pilots are authorized to make a determination and then have to deal with the consequences later. If they're putting safety in the front, the officer will make a determination on the scene that I believe this is a marijuana, I'm going to arrest. And then later they'll deal with, okay, actually it was hemp, never mind, false alarm. Well, that sounds great, court, but let's look like what that sees in real life. What happens in real life is this person is now arrested. They may lose their job. This arrest is still there. So now you have to use your one expunction, which is an expungement in our state. Yeah, so they made a decision that ultimately turned out to be wrong, but this person is charged, life ultimately upended for having a product that is legal in our state. I don't know how the court got to this rationale, but it was a unanimous decision. And I think this is one that's old way of thinking, not connecting with a new laws that we have. My judge in Michigan, he was not for medical marijuana that was being implemented at the time when I was up there. And so he would do everything within his power to ensure that that case went the distance. And I'm saying, well, Your Honor, we talk about the cases before. I'm like, Judge, they did everything they were supposed to. It was locked. It was locked in another room. Yeah, but we got to figure out, not that he was trying to push it that way, but he was just so against it that anything that was presented to him, he'd want to take it all the way to the line to ensure that they did everything by the book. And it's like, Judge, it's legal. You can't fight this one.
Khalif, I want to keep on with something that you said there. The state data shows that African Americans make up nearly 2/3 of marijuana arrests in North Carolina, even though that black people are less than 1/3 of the population. White and black people use marijuana at roughly the same rates, right? So when you're charging on something like this, the state crime lab also doesn't have the technology to differentiate between what's hemp and marijuana. So when we talk about ruining people's lives here, this is going to be something where we could see impacts and people will say, well, you know what, the state crime lab can't even vindicate me.
Not where we could see impacts, where we are already seeing impacts. The impacts are going to be there. The disparate impact in the criminal justice system is already there. The disparate impact here, where you're saying a person can be arrested for an item that's not illegal, is problematic on a couple of reasons. First of all, the criminal justice system is based on funds. Like, do you have the resources to hire someone like myself, not to diminish a public defender, but their caseload is just different than mine. And so I don't think you'll get the same attention to details with your cases as you would with a private hire. That's why folks go out and retain private attorneys, because it's more of a white glove treatment. It's more, hey, I have 1 or 2 or 20 cases as opposed to the maybe 100 or 100 plus that they're having. Extremely qualified, just overworked. And so that's why folks will go those resources. And sometimes does that mean you get different outcomes? It does. I mean, it oftentimes does to come down to the facts of your case. Did they have an opportunity to review it and say, well, actually, this was not marijuana at all. This was hemp. And because the lab never even ran a test, this should be tossed out immediately. But you've already had to pay for an attorney. You're going to have to pay for the expungement. Those are the types of things that will cost you as the end user in the long run.
All right, Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes, thank you for weighing in on all those topics today.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.